Welcome to the Doghouse, the home of the Huskies. Third in Chicago on the campus of John W. North High School, the CIF High School Football Game of the Week. It is Week 10. My name's Ghazal Hassan. This is Jeff Gorham, and it is a rivalry game for second place in the Inland Valley League. It's North against Poly. Do we need anything else, Jeff?
I'll tell you what, these two teams don't like each other. They haven't liked each other for years, and this is a playoff implication game. I'll tell you what, this is a great one.
Riverside Poly and North both playing for second place in the Inland Valley League, as well as for their playoff lives tonight. First for the Bears of Poly. They've run up 300 yards on the ground each of the last two games. They're led by Jermaine Henderson. He has 100 yards in 7 of the 9 games this year. One of the games where he missed 100 yards, Jeff, he had 99.
Good golly, but I'll tell you what, offensively they're playing great, but defensively they're shutting teams down.
3 shutouts in the last 4 league games for the Bears of Poly, but it'll be a tough task against North. They're also led by their running game. Venancio Micaele, the very talented freshman, had a big game last week in the loss against Orange Vista, and I think the Huskies will rally around him on the offensive side of the ball.
They'll rally around him, and they have a quarterback in Satcher and another back in Calhoun. Pretty dynamite as well.
It's Week 10, rivalry game with the playoffs on the line, the CIF on Riverside TV. Before the kickoff, we'll toss down on the field to J.R. Ibarra.
Yeah, guys, I got a Riverside running back matchup. I think it is key tonight. Jermaine Henderson coming into this game, as was mentioned, with 1,100 yards on the ground and 10 touchdowns on the ground. By contrast, Venancio Micaele, a freshman, 825 yards, gains about 8.8 yards per carry. He's a very fast, elusive runner, and he is one to look out for tonight. But the key could be on the defensive side. Poly comes into this with 2 consecutive shutouts, as was mentioned, and they are looking stronger every week. In fact, talking to Coach DeWitt earlier tonight, he says it's been a matter of that squad gelling and getting back some players from some injuries that have kept them hampered over the past few games. So that squad has really gelled, and they have become a very strong force for the Poly defense. It's a great matchup to cap off the regular season. Let's send it up top for tonight's kickoff.
Mr. Ibarra, thank you very much. 44th meeting between Poly and North. It'll be the Bears getting the ball first. Taryn Shive will tee it up, back deep to receive for Poly, Jermaine Henderson and Randy Wright. Rivalry game, second place in the Inland Valley League. Ghazal Hassan, Jeff Gorham, J.R. Ibarra with you. Thanks for joining us.
This is a big one. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of energy in this stadium.
Playoffs perhaps hang in the balance. Retreating into the end zone is Wright. It'll be a touchback and come out to the 20. That's where Poly will tee it up with their offense, led by Bud Burney. But the man of the hour is Jermaine Henderson, the running back. Last 2 weeks for Poly, Jeff, they've totaled more than 300 rushing yards.
Good golly, and this is a team we have seen progress the entire season. This is the 3rd time we've seen them, and they've gotten better and better and better.
2 of the linemen that Coach DeWitt singled out, his center Armando Pelayo has been solid all year, and Ulysses Alberto, the senior left tackle, he says, has played a huge role in how this running game has come about. 1st and 10 for Poly. Line is the 20. LaMontagne to the near side. Little misdirection. This is Henderson. Henderson spins over the 20 to about the 24-yard line. Tackle there. Macias coming up from a safety position to make the hit, 4 yards on the play for Jermaine Henderson. Saw the offensive line there. You see LaMontagne and Ovalles, the tight end. Sandifer is the top receiving threat. 2nd and 6 from the 24 for the Bears. Burney keeps it, and Naheem Hoxie brings him down for about a 3-yard loss on the play. Off the option, the front 4 of North swarming there, Jeff.
Yeah, and just like Poly, we've seen them progress this season. We're bookending the Riverside TV Game of the Week we saw North opening week versus Grand Terrace. We saw them in the middle of the season, and they have gotten better as well.
So call it a 2-yard loss. It's 3rd and 8. That's Randy Wright and Bud Burney, the quarterback, having a conversation. Camden Carmen to the left of Burney. 3rd down. Burney pulls it down, and he'll go down. Swarming is the defensive line for John W. North. that looked like Aaron McCullough getting in there. McCullough, Bove, Michael McCullough, Naheem Hoxie up front, very active unit. And then to watch the defensive secondary, Calhoun, Hawkins, Macias, Hollis in the secondary for JW North. We'll also see Kevon Baptiste and Dylan Kurtz rotate in. Michael Hollis, the new safety, the transfer from Arlington.
Well, it was a quick series. Great defensive effort by the Huskies up front.
Lauren Garthwaite will kick, and flag comes in on the play. Delay of game will be called on Poly. So good job on the first possession by the North defense, Jeff, to get a 3-and-out.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they were quick. They got up front. They blitzed. Those defensive ends were right there. They put a lot of pressure on Bud Burney on that first series.
So it is a pink out game. As you can see, we get a shot of the referee flags, which are also pink. That'll be a 5-yard mark-off against Poly. So line of scrimmage will move back to the 14-yard line. Standing at midfield to return the kick, Jaden Adams for North. Garthwaite will catch it at the 2. Another flag. The initial signal looks like offside. This time it'll go back the other way. That'll be on North. Our officials tonight, Donnie Jury is the referee. Mel Kabang is the umpire. Bobby Pruitt, the head linesman. Omar Perkins, the line judge. Bobby Burris, the black judge.
Hey, and I will say this. Donnie Jury, father Al Jury, was a longtime NFL referee. He's following in the footsteps of his dad, a longtime Inland Empire legend.
Here's the kick from Garthwaite. A short kick, bounces out of bounds at the 34, so it'll be a 21-yard kick, and North with very advantageous field position to start this drive, Jeff Gorham.
And I'll tell you what, I would be a little concerned if I'm that Poly defense, because we've seen North at times, and they have been dominant. They have been smash-mouth football, and it all starts with their great running back.
Nick Satcher up front and Venasio Mikaele, the main tailback. We'll also see Corian Rayford. He'll come in, play some wide receiver, play some wildcat. That offensive line has been very good for John W. North. Godinho Flores, Samuelu, Smith, Ruda, Barry.
Liz call! Liz call! What did you call? Liz call. Get outside, Rocky.
From the 35, it's a 1st and 10. This is the give. Here's Adams trying to get the edge. Adams around the corner to the 20-yard line, just cruising, and he dusts the defender, and he's to the end zone for a touchdown. Jaden Adams takes it 35 yards, and North is on the board.
Boy, you could say Jaden Adams once played tonight. He got on that edge, ran that sideline, and I'll tell you what, I thought he was going down a couple times, but eluded that defense for an easy score. Great play from the Huskies here.
So quickly, North draws first blood here at the doghouse, 6-0. Shive on to try the PAT, and it's blocked. Getting in there and blocking the PAT. Randy Wright paying some dividends for Poly on the PAT. Let's get a look at that run, though. He's able to get outside. Look at the crackback block there by Mikaele, and then kind of dust Josiah Harrison to get into the end zone. Nice swim move at the end of that run by Jaden Adams, Jeff.
And I'll tell you what, you just mentioned it. The young freshman, Venasio Mikaele, big block there. You got to take care of that young man after the game. That gave them that touchdown.
Well, and that's about the culture that Dennis Brown has installed at North, because when the receivers and the running backs block down the field, you know that's something that's just indicative of a positive culture at North, and they lead it 6-0. Let's see if that blocked PAT by Randy Wright plays into this game later. Right in the corner, and the kickoff will go out of bounds. Let's see what Derek DeWitt decides. So Huskies on the board. There will be no shutout for the Poly defense tonight.
No, there will not. In fact, how many plays was that?
One play.
There you go.
Uno.
Hey, I am a little concerned, though, about these pink flags. Can I tell you why?
Yes.
It's like being at my grandma's house. My grandmother always had pink hankies everywhere. It's like it's hanky heaven at the stately Gorham Manor when I was a child.
So 1st and 10 for Poly from the 35-yard line, and they'll go at it again. They went 3 and out the first time. Henderson trying to duck inside. He'll get over the 35. Flag comes in from the backside. Down goes Henderson after a gain of a couple.
But once again, that North defense collapsing on that run up the middle, forcing the Bears. Probably going to have to make them go outside or test that secondary here early.
That defensive front, McCullough, Beauvais, McCullough, and Hoxie will play a big role tonight, and they'll tack on 5 yards to the run. The ball moves up to the 42-yard line of Poly. First and 5. Here's Carmen slamming the left side, and maybe a yard on the play for Camden Carmen.
Well, Gazal, if you watched on this last play, everybody, there was literally 8 men in the box that time. They are trying to make Poly throw the football. They are forcing them to make a pass here.
Cody Valdez with the stop for North on the play. And an interesting twist, the defensive line coach for John W. North is O.P. Vaipulu, who at one time was the head coach at Poly. He played at Poly, but now back with Dennis Brown. 3rd down and 5. Here's the toss. Around the corner is Henderson, and he's still on his feet, but he stepped out of bounds. We'll see where they mark it. Looks like they mark it into North territory. So he picked up on the play about 9 yards. 1st down, sticks move up for the Bears.
So Bernie runs off the option there. Instead of going off tackle, they go outside, and they get some good yardage there. Good play call there by the Bears.
Ball to the 48 of John W. North. That's a look at Jermaine Henderson. Mentioned 7 of 9 games this year. He's gained 100 yards. The opener against Chaparral, he had 99.
Can we go back and give him an extra yard?
1st and 10, Henderson. Cuts back inside. Oh, nice job tripping up. Brendan Beauvais made a play that averted a longer run. So about 3 on the play for Henderson.
Boy, just luck of the draw. He might have got it. Might have moved the sticks there if he wouldn't have been hit by a shoulder.
LaMontagne split out to the near side for Poly. 2-back set. Fullback Carmen rips up the middle. Inside the 40, close to a 1st down. They'll stop him just short of the 49. Hoxie gets up from the bottom of the pile for John W. North.
And Poly now showing a little strength on that offensive line here. As you see on the replay, they're going to go off tackle.
Oh, Beauvais had the arm around, and then Hoxie finishes him off. They mark it to the 39. It'll be 3rd down and 1. Sandifer split out to the far side. Carmen, 1st down and more, rips through to about the 31. Macias combines on the tackle with Michael McCullough.
The Bears starting to get a little bit of rhythm here, kind of finding their niche, what they're used to doing, as they've done the last few weeks, is run it right up the middle.
Inside, outside with Carmen and Henderson is a good formula, and you know Bernie can throw the ball if he needs to. Ball on the turf, still loose. It's going to be North football. First effort looked like Poly had it back, but then it is recovered, claiming the bounty is Jalen Stredick, the linebacker, on the second effort. First turnover of the game.
Look on the replay here. We'll see it was a botched handoff and just squirted right out. North very quick to jump right on it. You see, look at all the stickers these guys have. The stickers are back. I love stickers.
My 9-year-old niece loves stickers. I sent her a birthday card recently, and I made sure it had stickers.
Did you give her ones that you should put on her helmet? Is she a football player?
Hopefully. Well, she does live in Ohio. They have girls' youth football in Ohio, believe it or not. 1st and 10, 37. The turnover by Poly. Satcher with the turn and give. This is Mikaele. Bounces off the first hit. Still on his feet. And he'll finally be wrestled down by Ledbetter up to the 40-yard line. A 3-yard run. He made something out of nothing.
We saw him the last time we covered him, and I'll tell you, he was amazing. I told all of my friends. I told all of their friends. I told my family. I think everybody's watching tonight just to check out this young man.
I mean, Isaac Rubin is no shrinking violet. He broke through against him, and then Ledbetter had to finish him off. Harold Hendricks split out to the far side. Hawkins in the far slot in the near, split out to the near side is Hawkins. Satcher, quick throw, slant to Hawkins, incomplete. Bearing down on the coverage there was Daquan Gilbo for Poly. It brings up third down.
Yeah, good quick hitter, though. Just didn't connect. Timing a bit off, but it's putting the Bears secondary in the middle part of their secondary.
Third and 8 from the 39 for North. Hawkins split out near side. Rayford split out to the far side. Far slot is Jaden Adams.
Yep, that's it. We're good. We're good.
Here's Calhoun. Calhoun finds some space. He's into the Poly side of the field for a first down. So Calhoun up to the Poly 46, picks up 15 on that play. Dennis Brown said he might be limited due to an ankle problem.
He didn't look limited there. In fact, man alive, found a hole. Quickness, and watch, he keeps moving his legs. I don't see any injury right there. That was a great move from that young man, Calhoun.
Austin Berry, the big fellow, the right tackle, grading some road out in front of Calhoun on that play. To the Poly 47, 1st and 10 North. They already lead 6-0 here early. Riverside rivalry here on Friday. The Bears and the Huskies. Satcher looking, got time. He'll throw to the outside. In and out of the hands of Corian Rayford. Randy Wright on the defense there for Poly, 2nd and 10.
That might have just been too easy. Thought about it. Hit him in a perfect spot in the hands. We watch here on the replay. Good pass.
Yeah, just nobody around him. Harden was there in the front of the play.
That might worry me if you see Harden in the peripheral vision. That's a large young man who could lay the hurt on you.
2nd and 10 from the Poly 47 for North. They lead 6-0. Here's Adams in motion. Here's the give to Calhoun working the inside. Surges up to the 45-yard line. Carmen there. Getting up from the bottom of the pile, Patrick Steach. And it's a stop after about 2 yards for Calhoun, 3rd down.
The Bears making a good stop here in this series. I'll tell you, this is one of the best rivalries in the city.
Great energy tonight in the building.
I'll tell you, I told you before we got on the air, I was a little nervous. I had butterflies, and I'm not even playing, but both bleachers are packed. There's people standing on the fence watching.
Hawkins split to the near side. Split out to the far side is Hendricks, and a timeout called by John W. North on 3rd and 8 here in the first quarter.
So a chess match here between the two coaches.
Bears mentioning that Dennis Brown, formerly the head coach at Poly, the current head coach at John W. North. Nice shot of the home side of the stands. Packed. It's a pink-out game. It's also homecoming this weekend here at John W. North. They had the in-and-out truck earlier. Get a look at the John W. North huddle. Dennis Brown, as head coach of Riverside Poly, led them to a CIF final in 2014. Here's a look at the turnover again. Bernie looked like he was on top of it, but then Stredick dives on it, and now Mikaele on the first carry. Look at this. I mean, he's kind of dead to rights, but still manages to grind 3 yards out of it.
I don't believe he's a freshman. He might be 35.
Let's do the investigation, Jeff. 3rd and 8 from the 45 for North. Hendricks split out to the far side. On the near side is Jalen Hawkins. Wildcat, this is Rayford, and Rayford will go down. Rayford is stopped for Poly by Alande Telemak. Ledbetter also in there. Good job on contain. Ball lost about a yard on the play.
Yeah, decided to go the Wildcat, went with the athletic move there, try to get some blocks from the backs and get to the edge. No doing, though. The Bears seem to have scouted these guys pretty well. We're right next to the offensive and defensive coordinators here.
They're going to go for it here on 4th and 8. They got the Wildcat out there, Corian Rayford, who was a quarterback last year for North on the freshman team. 4th and 8, and it'll be a penalty. They'll march it off against North for too much on the clock. The ball moves back into North territory. So the Huskies a little bit jittery. Already their 3rd penalty for 15 yards, Jeff, with just 3:51 to play first quarter.
Yeah, and I think a lot has to do with the energy, and a lot of it You know, it's playoff implications, second place in league.
4th and 10 from the North 49. And a little quick kick from Rayford. Down by Hawkins at the 13-yard line. So a 38-yard kick, no return. A little bit of trickery by Dennis Brown.
I kind of thought maybe a quick kick was in store there, but I tell you, it might have rolled a little further.
Yeah. I think maybe he thought he was inside the 10 as opposed to the 15.
I believe so. You heard a sigh from the crowd. Oh.
So 6-0 in favor of North. Poly with the football again. From the 14-yard line. Carmen in motion. Give to Henderson. And how do you do in the backcourt? He is fighting backfield. Bursting in and making the play, Alonzo Elliott for John W. North. Loss back to the 10.
That was kind of a full court press there, because I'll let you.
I was talking to your boy Yancey Dodson. He's a basketball coach. We got talking hoops, and I lost my mind.
We were talking hoops. We were talking everything down there.
Life, the universe, and everything. The wonderful coach of the Poly Bears basketball team, Mr. Yancey Dodson. 2nd down and 14. Bernie in trouble. Gets by Turner, and then finally Hoxie will bring him down at about the 10-yard line. Helping out on the play was Alonzo Elliott for North.
Boy, like I said, this is the third time we've seen North. The first game versus Grand Terrace, and it was a goofy game. It was the fires prevented them from really practicing. Boy, this defense has really, really, really improved.
Those 4 guys up front, we know how talented they are, and they're obviously well coached. O.P. Vaipulu, who also for a year was head coach at Poly. He's the D-line coach for North. We know him well. And he wanted to coach him up, and he was a little frustrated in the first game, but he's had 10 more weeks to work with this group. And it shows here as Poly now in a 3rd and 14 from the 10. Need to get the 24-yard line for a first down. Bernie complete to LaMontagne at the 20. He'll step out just short of the first down at the 22.
Well, their 2 big plays so far tonight have been to the outside. I would continue to do so, kind of open up that middle, because that North front has been dominant so far here in the first quarter.
They marked LaMontagne out at the 19, so give it a 9-yard gain on the play. And Ethan LaMontagne is a guy we'll watch. He's only a sophomore. We'll watch him as he goes forth here for Poly. Transferred from Carnegie, extremely talented player. And Lauren Garthwaite will punt for Poly. Adams at the 50 for North. 6-0 Huskies. 90 seconds to play in the first quarter. Garthwaite, another short kick. It'll go out of bounds at the 46. So a 26-yard punt for Garthwaite. And North will start again in Poly territory, Jeff Gorham. Do you have any updates?
We do have an update. We're not the only show in town right now.
Don't tell them that. I don't want our ratings to suffer.
No.
I kid.
I kid. Hey, Ramona versus Norte Vista for second place as well, and playoff implications. Ram High with a 50-yard run to start the game for a touchdown. Novi kicks 2 field goals, but Ramona High School with an 86-yard return leads 14-6.
Here's the run by Mikaele. Mikaele gets to the outside. Venasio lowers the shoulder and lowers the boom at the 15-yard line. Josiah Harrison with the tackle for Poly. 31-yard pickup for the freshman.
Boy, did you see that? That was an amazing play. We talked to Coach DeWitt before the game, and he said certain guys just have it. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
This guy right here has it. Look at this. Look at this. Bam! And just a freshman.
Good job there by Josiah Harrison. Kind of absorbed that contact like Wolverine in the X-Men. Kind of absorbing Mikaele's energy. From the 16 for North, 1st and 10. Right back, they'll feed him again. And this time Warren Harden gets in on there. And it's about a 3-yard pickup. Harden and Mikaele meeting.
Yeah, we've seen Warren Harden really grow over the past few years. What an outstanding player and great athlete. Father, one of the coaches. Mom, a big supporter of the Riverside Poly Bears, and just a super athlete. You look at him, passes the eyeball test for sure.
Well, he's one of the big reasons the defense for Poly has played so well. Now they have him back to regulate. 2nd and 7 from the 13 for JW North. They'll give to Calhoun this time. A little bit of a change of pace. Gets through the first wave inside the 10 to the 9, 4 yards and 3rd down.
Oh, we thought it would be a physical game. They have not let down. I'll tell you what. You can tell these guys are playing for something. This isn't just a regular season game. This is a rivalry between two teams. I want to say they don't like each other very much.
It's an old rivalry. 44th meeting between these two teams. North has won the last 2. Poly won the previous 3. And that's the last play of the first quarter. So after 12 minutes of football, it's 6-0 in favor of the Huskies in the 44th edition of the granddaddy of them all. Sorry, I was at the Rose Bowl last weekend. I saw all those pictures of Keith Jackson.
Hello, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson.
All-time series until last year. 23 wins for North, 20 for Poly. They were 16-2, and I remember there was a part of the time between 65 and 92 these teams didn't play because they were in different divisions.
Yeah, and at the time, you know, we were playing for inland championships. It was just a silly situation. But I remember back in the day when Riverside had Riverside Poly, John W. North, Ramona, Norte Vista, and Arlington. That was the Ivy League, the Pentaveran. That was a great league at the time, and those teams played relentlessly for decades.
The ball will be on the 10-yard line of Poly, and North going to make it a 2-score game. They already lead 6-0. A touchdown in the first quarter, 9:51. The first time the Huskies touched the football, Jaden Adams took it 35 yards to make it 6-0, and then Randy Wright blocked the point after attempt. The first miss of the year for the North kicker, Terrence Shave. He had been 29 of 29 coming into that one.
Oh, you can't be happy with that.
It's like a kid who gets an A-. Not good enough.
No. My children never get A-minuses.
You don't let them?
No, I refuse. A warm evening, though. It was 90-plus degrees after 5 o'clock. Here we are in almost November. You and I are wearing sport coats and sweating.
Tell Randy to get his tail over there. They just ran right up the middle on us.
Mikaele with the handoff, and he's fighting.
Don't jump.
That was a 3rd and 4 play. They'll mark it to the 7, so he's short. 4th down. Mikaele now 4 carries for 40 yards. Again, another look at that one.
He's impossible to bring down. Watch.
I mean, he bounces off a contact. He has 3 white shirts wrapping him up and still manages to get to the 7-yard line.
I bet he eats rocks.
Nails. Here's the give. Mikaele right up the middle should have it inside the 5. He gets inside the 5 to the 1-yard line.
He eats rocks, and he has 6 legs.
And what a find he has been. Remember, he came in that first game against Grand Terrace when Jarrell Calhoun got hurt, and they saw what he could do, and he's been the leading rusher for the Huskies on the season. 1st and goal from the 1 for North. 6-0, they already lead. Full house backfield. Here's the give to Mikaele, but there's a stoppage on the field. They'll say Poly offside. That is the indication from Donnie Jury.
All right, Huskies, help us out with Ain't No Party Like a Husky Party.
Donnell Jury has thrown me out of several basketball games, but he's one of my good friends. Many times on the side.
Touchdown, North. Mikaele takes it in from a yard out at 10:49 here in the second quarter. And a 2-score lead. Now, what do you do here if you're Dennis Brown? You kick it, you go for 2.
Yeah, go for 2.
Six plays, 46 yards, 2 minutes and 41 seconds. They'll kick the PAT, which I think is the smart move, and then a flag comes in. I always am confounded by coaches that chase points too early.
Ken Batdorf has been known to do that. And there's a legend that did it. The guy who was at Bloomington, Don Markham, used to go for 2 every single time.
Well, that's different. Yeah, that's different if that's what you do.
But he always had a kicker. He just didn't want to do it.
Move it back 5 yards. 4th penalty on North. So it'll be a 25-yard kick. High snap. Kick is up, and the kick is good. So Shive now 30 of 31 after the block. Let's get a look at that touchdown run. Real simple. Just running behind. They had Aaron McCullough, a defensive lineman, in to block in the backfield. Poly will do the same thing. They'll bring in Jalen Keaton and Warren Harden in short yardage situations.
And why not? They are extreme athletes with superior strength. Like Festivus.
Feats of strength there, right?
Yes.
Superior speed and superior strength. And Mika Ele with the 1-yard run for the touchdown. Adams also has a 35-yard run. So both touchdowns for the Huskies by land. We only have Aaron Land here. We don't have the C option, I guess. Although we did a couple weeks ago.
Yes, we did.
10:45 to play. Here's the kickoff. Backpedaling is Randy Wright. It'll go into the end zone and come out to the 20 for Poly. So we mentioned in the open, Jeff, playoff implications for both these teams. Both Poly and North squarely on the bubble, but you'd think a second-place finish in the Inland Valley League for whomever would propel them into the playoffs.
Yeah, it should. I mean, it really should. But with this competitive equity and there's how many divisions do we have now?
13.
13. You know, we talked to John Tibbles, the AD. And we'll get into this a little later.
1st and 10 Poly. Here's Henderson. Henderson over the middle. About 6 on the play. Nice job getting up on 1st down.
And talking to John Tibbles, the athletic director at Ramona, he made a good point. He said, why don't we just add a couple divisions, but make those lower divisions not state championship eligible? Pretty good idea, I thought.
Not bad for an old basketball coach. Here's Henderson again, and this time he traverses up to the 29-yard line, close to a 1st down. Third down and 1. They'll mark it to the 29. 13-0 North. This is Carbon, and he'll get the 1st down over the 30-yard line. So running inside, that's worked for Poly, Jeff. That bread and butter has worked for the Bears. It's not going to be flashy or score quickly, but they've been moving the ball when they do that.
Yeah, and when you do that, you eat up clock, you score before halftime here, and put yourself in a pretty good position. See if the Bears can capitalize.
First and 10 from the Poly 32. Back to throw is Bernie in trouble, and down he goes. Look at Beauvais. What a strong man he is. That was almost a wrestling move there as he pulled him down. Loss back to the 27.
The French Foreign Legion right there. Brandon Beauvais came in. Look how quick he was there, Gazal.
It's like an old Bruno Sammartino move from Saturday night on MSG Network. Flag on the play will be against North. So they'll march it up. That's a personal foul penalty, 15 yards. It'll go up to the 43-yard line.
Yeah, you can't be happy if you're Coach Brown. You make a great defensive stance and then just give it away.
First and 10 from the Poly 43. They'll give it right back to Anderson. Accelerating to the outside, and Naheem Hoxie had different ideas. Stones him after no gain.
Boy, you watch that North front line. They're pulling guys in from the secondary, adding everybody in the box, and a quick hit right there.
I mean, when your front four can manage the front like that, it just opens up so many more options defensively.
Yes, it does.
2nd and 10 Poly from their 43. Here's the give to Henderson, trying to find some room. Now he'll cut back inside, and he'll traverse up to midfield. He'll be slammed down there. Tackle on the play made by Alonzo Elliott. So 7 yards will make it 3rd and manageable.
Yeah, great play call there. You see the handoff, misdirection, and
kind of went through Hoxie, and then Beauvais combines on the hit as well. As clock continues to move towards 8 minutes remaining in the first half. 13-0 Huskies in this rivalry game. Sandiford to the near side, Carpintero in the near slot for Poly. Play fake, and look at Elliott. Another slam, another sack for North back to the 41-yard line.
Boy, the Huskies have come to play tonight, as we see here. Wow.
Alonzo Elliott has been extremely active, the young sophomore linebacker for John W. North. He wants to get in on the hitting, sees the big guys up front having all the fun. And Garthwaite on to kick the ball back, marked officially to the 44, so a 5-yard loss. Good kick this time. It'll bounce to the 25. Adams will just backtrack, stay out of the way, and they'll down it at the 5-yard line.
We do have an update on the other game on Riverside TV.
Go ahead.
It is actually, I thought it was 14-6, but there was a blocked PAT by Norte Vista. Norte Vista comes back and scores, and it is now tied at 13 apiece.
51-yard punt for Ms. Garthwaite, and North will start deep in their own territory. 7:21 to play in this first half. And I'll tell you what, Poly's defense was the one we were talking about because they had a couple of shutouts. The Huskies are up to the challenge tonight on the defense, particularly that front four for John W. North.
Oh, man, that front four has been really, really strong, and they've getting a lot of help from those linebackers that are blitzing right up front. Man, very good so far.
From the 5-yard line. Here's the give. They'll feed Mikaeli again. Gets around to the outside, and, man, he's got one man to get past, and he'll go up to the 30-yard line, brought down from behind by Randy Wright. 26-yard pickup on the play.
How many freshmen have we seen over the years with that kind of breakaway speed? Freshmen and strength.
Another look at it, and dusts Josiah Harrison, and then Wright cleans it up. Harrison did screw him up, but they're gonna call a flag, and they'll march it back.
Oh.
Holding called against JW North.
So a couple penalties tonight have really cost North. That's a big one.
So North already with their 6th penalty. 45 yards already in penalty yardage for the Huskies. So take the penalty back to the 6-yard line. First down is up to the 16-yard line. 13-0 Huskies. Hawkins split out to the far side. Hendricks to the near side. In the near slot is Corian Rayford for North. Fullback is Adams. Tailback is Mikaele. And here's the throw to the outside, complete to Corian Rayford, dancing at the 10-yard line. And Warren Harden will help spin him down. They'll mark him up to the 11. So a 5-yard gain on that play. Also in on the hit for the Poly Bears is Daquan Gilbo.
I'm going to tell you right now, Gazal, Poly got lucky on that play. They only had one defender on 2 receivers. It was a heads-up play by the Huskies. Great adjustment. If you notice, though, there's just one defender on 2 receivers.
And Harden got good pressure on the play. And he even was able to retreat back to make the play. He's all over the place, like Forrest Whitaker and as Jefferson in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. 2nd and 4, the ball is at the 12 for North. 88 yards to pay dirt. Delay will be called on North. 7th penalty on the Huskies already here. 6:09 to play first half, Jeff.
Yeah, and you understand that in maybe week 1 or week 2. But we're in basically 11 weeks into the season. Far too many mistakes, especially this deep into your own territory.
Ball moves back to the 7. Split out to the far side, Hawkins. There's the inside give, and this time Poly is ready. So Mikaele is tackled. Harden was in on the play. Carmen got some help as well. Loss inside the 5. So the first negative run on the night for Mikaele.
Oh, this is a big play right here, Gazal.
3rd and 12. They need the 16. So Rayford split to the near side. Adams in the near slot. Far side split is Hawkins. Calhoun, the lone man in the backfield. Here's the throw. Thrown complete to Rayford, who will be tackled at the 15, and the face mask will make it a first down. Complete to the 15-yard line, gain of 11, and then a flag comes in from the backside.
Yeah, a quick shot there. We saw that North tried that earlier in the game, but was successful that time. And like you said, face mask is going to tack on. It's going to be a first down.
Just the second penalty on the Bears. So they'd stopped him short. Oh, it's an incidental face mask. It'll just be 5. It'll still be a first down, though. So move to the 20-yard line. 2 penalties now on Poly for 10 yards. 13-0 Huskies playing in the second quarter. Under 5 minutes to play till the half. And North trying to tack on another score before they go to the locker room. Rivalry game, 44th meeting between these two teams. Adams in motion. Here's the give to Mikaele. And he meets with Warren Harden. Gets through Harden. Bowls forward to about the 38-yard line. Venancio Mikaele just broke a tackle by Warren Harden. You ever see the movie Miracle?
I have.
Remember when they score on Tretriak and they said, if you score on him, keep the puck?
Yes.
Doesn't happen very often. We just saw it again. Watch this. Here's Harden, got a good angle on him and then just gets away from him. Does Mikaele keeps driving. Randy Wright slows him up, and then Harrison finishes it off, the gain up to the 37-yard line. So Mikaele now nearly at 100 yards. 1st and 10 for the Huskies. Here's the give to Calhoun right up the middle. Calhoun makes a move. Calhoun's got a foot race. He will win it. Touchdown North. 63 yards for Jarrell Calhoun, and the Huskies are barking in the doghouse.
Wow. That was a foot race you weren't going to catch.
Calhoun looked like he was on one of those Lime scooters the kids all use.
Man alive. I choose not to run, Jerry.
Well, the penalty helped. But 6 plays, 95 yards in 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Tack on the PAT, get a look at the drive. Rayford with 2 receptions from Calhoun. And then 3 runs by, there's the face mask that added 5 yards and gave the first down. Then Calhoun takes it to the house.
Coach Bavalakwa said, run, my friend, run.
Mr. Bavalakwa, the legendary gym coach at John F. Kennedy Junior High, I think it was. So 4:06 to play in the first half, and North now taking the advantage here against Poly. The Poly defense, the last 3 out of the last 4 games, had shut their opponents out. North figured something out here on their home field. Here's Randy Wright from the 2, trying to make something happen. Randy Wright gets to the open field. Nice move there, and then he gets dragged down from behind. Making the play for North, Zarian Streets, the junior defensive back, saves a big play for Poly, but again, good field position for the Bears. 40 yards on the return for Randy Wright. Nice to see him back in the fold for Coach Derek DeWitt.
Let's see if the Bears can capitalize.
They just need to get the offense rolling here, get a drive going. Here's Henderson up to the 45, 3 more yards for Jermaine Henderson. He now has 32 yards on 10 carries, 2nd and 7.
But Gazal, how can you? The Huskies are playing phenomenal defense. It's one of the best defensive efforts we've seen all season long.
The big boys up front, Aaron McCullough, Brandon Beauvais, Michael McCullough, and Naheem Hoxie have really set the pace for this game. Subbing in at the defensive line is Ruben Ruda. He's one of the starters on the offensive line. He's a big guy. Ruda goes about 6'2", 240. And they've lined him up on the D-line. 3:36 to play in the first half, and in this game where there are playoff implications for both teams, it's for second place in the Inland Valley League. The home team has the upper hand early, Jeff.
Yes, they do. And, really surprising. I thought it would be a lot closer. Man, but North just came out ready to play.
The defensive line for the Huskies has kind of been the focus, as Poly came in having run for over 300 yards, Jeff, in each of the last 2 weeks, and they've really done a nice job getting to the football.
Yes, they have. Been very impressive.
2nd and 8 from the Poly 44 for the Bears. Want to muster some resistance before the end of the first half. Bernie back to throw. Hoxie got him down. Naheem Hoxie just blew through there, lost back to the 34.
I don't know what adjustments you can make with this right now. They are just playing mean football. Mean.
Keith Jackson used to say they're pinning their ears back and flat out coming at you.
And it's gaining confidence. You can't give this Huskies defense confidence because they are just gaining momentum here.
Look at Brandon Beauvais along with Michael McCullough in the middle. There's Naheem Hoxie, number 3 in the maize and blue. A little confusion on the field. Tony Avales Jr. had to leave the field. Might have been an equipment issue.
Now, are you a fan of the, the matte color?
I do. If it works, I like it. If it works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. On these helmets, I believe it works. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it on dark color
Right.
helmets. It's like on a car. I hate the matte cars. Have you seen those? Crazy looking things. I don't want to see a matte colored car.
3rd and long. They need to get into North territory for a first down. Coverage down the field, and now Ruda has a hand on it. Throwing the ball away is Bernie, and a flag comes in. Ruda had the pressure, and they've been relentless. Those big boys up front for North have really been putting the heat on Bud Bernie.
Angry. I'm telling you, they're angry.
Intentional grounding is the call, so it'll be a 10-yard penalty on Poly and a loss of down.
Yeah, and a good call. I mean, there was no one there. He's outside of the hash, but still, you got to have somebody to look to. He just throws it down. And why not? Wouldn't you?
He throws it the other way, opportunity for it to get intercepted.
Yeah.
So just trying to burn the down and gets caught. Garthwaite with the punt. And it's blocked. Punt is blocked. And it rolls out of bounds. Naheem Hoxie's eyes got real big on that one. He wanted the scoop and score. Instead, it'll still be North football deep in Poly territory, and everything going right for the Huskies tonight, Jeff.
And I'll be honest with you, watching that play, I was thinking in my head, they're going to get it. The Dogs are going after it.
Missed who blocked the punt. Maybe it was Hoxie.
Whew.
Get another look at it, but in any event, the ball now at the 14-yard line of Poly, and again, North knocking on the door. They could score again here.
I guess defense does win games occasionally.
Here goes Stitch, Coach. Again, there's the same play.
Here's the inside handoff to Mikaeli, and he'll get over the 10, maybe not quite over the 10, get to the 10-yard line. Looked like Ledbetter was in there along with Harden, and it'll be about 4 yards more for Venasio Mikaeli, and he is now at 99 yards on 10 carries.
Give it to him every time then.
Clock moving, 2nd and 5 from the 9-yard line. Huskies in the first half, they've been up to the challenge. Poly came in as the hot team. They were the one playing well. North coming off a 56-14 pasting to Orange Vista last week. 2nd and 5 from the 9. This is Adams, but the give is to Mikaeli right up the middle. Driving inside to the 5-yard line. Mikaeli maybe gets to about the 4. He's over 100 yards on the evening. Clock moving towards 90 seconds to play here in the first half. And the jumbo package comes in. You see McCullough running in there with Hoxie. Also running out on the field for North, Enrique Carlos, an extra lineman. So 3rd and 1. He didn't quite get the first down, just outside the 5.
I bet you a sandwich. I know who it's going to.
Oh, surprise, surprise. Mika Ale dragging tacklers into the end zone. Touchdown, Huskies.
You owe me a sandwich.
Jersey Mike's okay?
Yep. Mike's way.
Mika Ale, with his second touchdown of the evening, makes it a 26-0 lead for North. And this is wide left and low. So the PAT, second PAT miss for Taryn Shive tonight. He'd gone 29 of 29 coming into the ballgame.
What is going on with that young man?
So the drive for John W. North, 3 plays, 14 yards. It took them 1:24 and culminates in the 6-yard run by Venasio Mikaele. And they're playing Celebration by Kool and the Gang, and why not?
I figured out why he's missed his PATs.
Why?
He probably had an AP test today, or has one coming up on Monday, and he's got a lot on his mind.
Well, the rest of his team seems to have picked him up. They were very much in control of this one. Here's the kickoff. It's a short one, and it's bobbled at the 20-yard line. That's Rubin. Rubin with some open space, and Rubin hurdles over the 30 to about the 37. And that's where Poly will start this drive. 1:03 to play in the first half, Jeff. Poly trailing 26-0. They just want to get something going here. 3 points, 6 points, whatever you can get going into the locker room. And remember, North gets the ball to start the second half.
Oh, I'll tell you what, yeah, this is the biggest surprise we've seen so far this year. Like you said, momentum was in Poly's favor, and boom, the defense came out for the Huskies.
Looks like they put LaMontagne in at quarterback, running the option. Fakes to Henderson. Here he goes, and he'll spin up to the 47-yard line, close to a first down. Ethan LaMontagne is the backup quarterback for Poly. He's completed all 7 passes he's thrown on the year. So LaMontagne with the run. Clock moving because he did not get the first down. 2nd and 1. LaMontagne with the give to Henderson, who's got some space. Breaks a tackle and then rides another would-be tackler to the 41-yard line.
Yeah, Poly's going to have to call timeout here.
So good gain on the play. 12 more yards for Jermaine Henderson, who now has 44 yards on 11 carries, and a timeout called by Poly. Calhoun finally wrestled him out of bounds after he broke through the first tackle, and timeout with 30 seconds to play.
I kind of like, though, the change with LaMontagne at quarterback, don't you?
Well, they got to change something up. I don't think it's Bud Burney's fault.
No. But it just changes the dynamic.
You're playing a little more RPO, run-pass option with LaMontagne. He's an athlete, the wide receiver. Maybe he can move a little bit, and you move the pocket a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe that can offset some of the pressure that defensive line is getting for the Huskies.
Yeah, I agree. It just changes the look because so far it just hasn't. Bud Burney, a very, very capable quarterback. He's been running on his heels all night.
A fumble and a block punt both led to touchdowns for the Huskies. So that's 2 scores right there. A turnover and then a blocked kick.
Is this MC Hammer?
That's right. You can't touch this.
I was up at Cal Berkeley when he was really in his prime.
That's right. He was from the Bay Area.
Oh, yeah. He was a ball boy for the Oakland A's, and he used to come up to Cal and show up to hoop games. And that was at his peak in his big pants.
1st and 10, line is the 42 of North. LaMontagne to throw, launches it down the field. And what a diving catch. Did he hold it? He did not. Incomplete. Randy Wright, the intended receiver, at about the 10-yard line, couldn't hold on to it. That's the first incompletion thrown on the season for Ethan LaMontagne.
That's Bradshaw to Lynn Swan. Look at that. He dives completely out there, just misses it. Man, what a tough play. Tough break for the
60
Bears.
prevent slot hook and go from that Super Bowl in the Rose Bowl against the Rams.
We do have an updated score with the other game that's going on between Norte Vista and Ram High. 21 apiece right before halftime.
Rams and the Braves are getting after it over there at Ram High. So trips formation to the top of your screen. Randy Wright along with Stephen Carpentiero. And also out there is Dalen Branham. Split out to the near side for Poly is Jerry Sandifer. The lone setback is Camden Carmen. 26-0, North leads Poly. Second down from the 42. A little bit of a broken play. LaMontagne trying to make something happen. They got a hold of his jersey, but he's still moving, and he definitely steps outside and steps out of bounds. A flag will come in late. That might be against North. They'll mark him up inside the 30 to the 29, so a first down, a 13-yard run by Ethan LaMontagne.
Well, he's been a spark in this offense here on this drive. Another game of note tonight, the Rancho Verde
Going for 10-0.
versus Heritage. In the first quarter, it is Heritage 7, Rancho Verde 0.
You just say nil?
I did.
You've been hanging around Remy too much.
I love soccer. Oh, they've given up the was that?
They waved off the flag, so it'll just be a straight 13-yard pickup for LaMontagne. First and 10 to the 29 of North. 16 seconds to play.
I thought Donnell Jury was surrendering.
So now North will call a timeout to talk it over, leading 26-0. So in a game with big playoff implications, Jeff, the Huskies kind of came out like a house of fire here in the first half to lead 26-0. Let's break down some of the playoff implications. So Division 9 for Poly. Obviously, they want to win and be a second-place team because potentially that could set them up. We're going to look at the graphic here. So there are already 10 teams in Division 9 with 7 or more wins. In essence, you have 10 teams with 5 or 6 wins playing for the final 6 spots. But remember, 2 of those teams with 5 or 6 wins can still win a league championship. So if you win a league championship, you're probably in, which means that's 4 spots left for the remaining 8 teams.
Oh, that could be dicey.
And then Division 8 for John W. North, they're one of 11 teams with 3 or 4 wins. And there's already 10 teams in. And it's a little bit less complicated because there are not any teams left that can win a league title. But obviously, if you're Dennis Brown and John W. North, you just want to log the W.
Yes, you do. I'll tell you what, though, the CIF, I know the competitive equity that they brought into play, they've got to change it. I think next year we're going to see some big changes to this playoff system.
From the 29, LaMontagne going for the end zone. Looking for Wright, and Wright couldn't hold it. Macias on the coverage, but in and out of his hands, incomplete.
Another great pass.
Kid's got some touch.
Man, I'll tell you what, he steps back and watch him throw with confidence. It is just a perfect, it's a dart right into the chest.
Oh, he's got to catch that. I mean, I don't mean to be critical.
No, but that's...
And Randy Wright hasn't, in his defense, he hasn't played all year. He's just kind of getting back in the flow of things with the team. But your team's down 26-0. You can reel that in.
That was a big-time pass, big-time play.
Donnie Jury. Will signal timeout. We have a break on the field. So a couple of playoff games here, or implications here in our games this weekend. North Poly here, and then John Ramey and Tim Hatch over at Ramona High School calling Ramona and Norte Vista. They're tied at 21. They're at the half yet?
I'm not too sure if they're at the half, but we'll have to find out here. Second quarter, according to my stats.
Now, hopefully we'll get a playoff game or 2 for Riverside TV. Obviously, a lot of factors are in play. Really, the most ones is we got to have a Riverside team host a game.
Yes.
That's what it comes down to. So we want a couple of league champions. So obviously Hillcrest is a league champ. Notre Dame is a league champ. So they may host games in the first half. And then, obviously, if the team goes on the road and wins, the second round game they would get at home. So maybe in the first couple of weeks, if one of these teams can go on the road and win.
We'll get to see him in round 2. We do have a score, Riverside score. Patriot 28, La Sierra nothing in the second quarter.
Wow. So Patriot playing for a playoff spot, they came out doing what they need to do. They're ranked in Division 11, but obviously being a fourth-place team, they need to just stack another win.
Yes, they do.
2nd and 10 for Poly. LaMontagne's going to throw to the end zone. Down the field, intercepted. Picked off by Sebastian Macias with 5 seconds to play here in the first half. So LaMontagne before tonight had been 7 of 7 at the quarterback position, 0 for 3 through the air, and it's a pick. And, you know, that's why when you have an opportunity to reel it in, you got to do it, because then every time down, it's a higher degree of difficulty. Sandiford, the intended receiver, Macias right there to make the play.
Yeah, and they almost had to go deep there.
Yeah.
He's thrown 3 really, really good balls. That one just overthrown and picked off by a Husky. Tough thing
A
is,
score in this first half would have been so big for Poly had they been able to get it, because it kind of it stems the tide a little bit.
does.
You know, like in basketball, talk about stopping the bleeding, right?
Yeah.
Other teams on a big run, you hit a 3, you can take a little bit of a breath.
yes, you can. Tough thing is, Husky ball now. Husky ball after the break.
North Satcher will just take a knee and let the clock expire. J.R. Ibarra will have Dennis Brown as part of our halftime festivities. We'll get some band footage as well. Thanks for your feedback, by the way, on the Riverside Facebook Live feedback. People last year said, you know, we'd like to see the bands. And then this year, they decided to put the bands on. They've been getting great feedback about the bands. And from what you're telling me, John W. North has one of the better bands in the city.
The Blue Star Regiment, not in the city, my friend, the entire nation at one time, and I'm not sure if it still holds, the Blue Star Regiment was the best band in the country, my friend. And they've been in Rose Bowls, they've been in national championship games, they have been in New York, they have been all over. They're one of the best bands ever.
J.R. Ibarra standing by with John W. North head coach Dennis Brown. Will toss it down to the field for J.R. and Coach Brown.
Impressive first half, especially on the defensive side for you guys.
Yeah, it was a great effort defensively, just flying around. Kids are playing hard, and, you know, it's a big game, big rivalry. They know each other so well. They're neighborhood friends, so it's fun. It's a good atmosphere, you can tell.
Running game is there as well.
It is, yes, absolutely. I mean, that's what we pride ourselves in. We want to be more physical, and so far in the first half we established the line of scrimmage. Now we got to go finish the second half.
But the only hiccup is that you had numerous penalties on that first half.
We did, yeah. We got to clean that stuff up, and like I said, we're not done. I mean, we want to finish this game, so our kids are ready to, you know, play 4 quarters tonight.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so Coach Brown going into halftime with a nice 26-0 lead. Send it back to you guys.
Jeff Gorham, 26-0, John W. North lead. The Poly band out on the field right now. Some quick thoughts before we kick it down to the band.
First play. That's what it is. I mean, the first play of the game for North, boom, touchdown, and the defense has been phenomenal.
26-0, John W. North leads Poly. We have the Poly band on the field. We'll play the band for a little bit. We'll step aside for a couple of public service announcements. Then Jeff and I will come back and bring you the second half of action from here at the Doghouse on the campus of John W. North, 3rd and Chicago.
Got junk too big for the trash can? Then call 311 to schedule a bulky item pickup. Riverside residents get 2 free pickups a year, but you gotta follow 3 simple rules. Bulky items must be curbside by 5:30 a.m. the day of your pickup, light enough for 2 people to lift, and the total volume can't be larger than 8 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot. If you got a lot of junk, check out our bulky item and e-waste drop-off events held several times each year. Bulky item pickup. Call us today and we'll haul it away.
Let's hear it one more time for our Blue Star Regiment.
to make sure our seniors are safe with consistent, proper nutrition and healthy foods delivered to their homes.
Elderly patients who do not have proper nutrition have a higher risk of irregular heart rhythms and sepsis.
Riverside's Meals on Wheels program can always use your help. If you can volunteer or donate, you can visit our website and get more information how you can participate, and we thank you.
Look at some highlights from the first half. Jaden Adams, first play from scrimmage for North. Great field position, takes it 35 yards. Nice swim move at the end of that run for the touchdown. The extra point was blocked by Randy Wright. It made it 6-0. And then here's a turnover in the first half as Bud Burney on the exchange misses it, leads to this 1-yard short touchdown run by Venancio Mikaeli, who had 2 touchdowns in the first half. And that relentless defensive front, that's a linebacker. That's Alonzo Elliott, who's a linebacker, but the defensive front playing extremely well. A 63-yard run here. Jarrell Calhoun, who supposedly had a bulky ankle before the game. Ankle looked fine on that, plays into the end zone. And then Randy Wright tries to get Poly back into this one. 40-yard kick return, but Poly can't make anything out of it. And coming right back after a blocked punt, here's Venancio Mikaele into the end zone. His second trip to pay dirt on the evening. And then here's an opportunity. LeMontagne has it twice, opportunities to Randy Wright. That one is a little bit of a more difficult play. Here's the one they like back. Right in the breadbasket, just couldn't reel it in. Did right. And they go to the half. The last play here, it gets intercepted by Sebastian Macias, the senior defensive back for North, playing his final game in this rivalry, and makes the pick at the end of the half. And those are the numbers for you. I was wrong on the turnover number. There were 2 turnovers because they added the interception late. But North dominating on the ground, Jeff, and they're led by their tailback, Venancio Mikaele, 110 yards on 12 carries. Jarrell Calhoun has 84 yards on 4 carries, but that's largely because of the big 60-yard run.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it has been the Mikaele show. I'm telling you, he is a phenomenal player. We're going to see him for the next 3 years. I'll tell you what, we've seen a lot of great running backs. He might be the best we've seen all season.
Well, definitely the best freshman we've seen this year, right?
Yeah, very much so. We've seen a lot of good backs. Roby from Ramona High School, Malesio before he got hurt over at Norte Vista. But this young North team and the defense was phenomenal in the first half.
Jaden Adams is deep for North. Lauren Garthwaite will do the honors for Poly. Second half about to get underway. 26-0 Huskies for second place in the Inland Valley League. Also, incidentally, the 44th all-time meeting between these two rivals. A lot of people in the building tonight, Jeff, have been on both sides of the rivalry. We'll get into that as we get into the third quarter. Line, a little squibber, fielded at the 30-yard line. All the way to midfield is Jalen Stredick, a linebacker, about 18 yards on the return, and again, very good field position for John W. North.
Yeah, Jalen Stredick right there almost broke free. There was only a couple people back, but great stop by the Bears here. Let's see if the Bears can muster up a good run here in the second half.
Speaking of breaking free, if we don't have a game next week, and I hope we do, you want to go see Bohemian Rhapsody? It opens on Friday.
Yeah, of course I will. I'm a Freddie Mercury fan.
All right, you're going to get Cleaner King right here.
From the 48 of the Huskies, North will have the first drive here in the second half. They got Mikaeli split out, and now he'll switch places with Hawkins. 26-0 Huskies, Wildcat. Satcher flexed out as a wide receiver. And here's the pass down the field. Wide open is Hawkins, and Satcher a little bit too strong on the uptake. Incomplete, 2nd and 10.
You couldn't have asked for a better play. Satcher just looked a little bit too excited. You rarely have a guy that wide open.
A little bit of razzle-dazzle there. Good throw by Satcher. Just, I don't know if Hawkins broke off the pattern, just a little too much air under that one. 2nd and 10 coming up. And why not? You're up 26-0. Come out on your first play. Very good field position. Take a shot. I like the mentality.
Yeah, you do. I agree with you 100%. And Satcher can throw a football over that mountain, Mount Rubidoux over there. Why not?
2nd and 10. Line is the 48. Here's the give. And I think we'll see a Seti die to this. Nice little stutter step dancing outside is Mika Ailey, finally ridden down at the 47 on the Poly side of the field. Patrick Steech there along with Warren Harden.
Yeah, I'd like to see Warren Harden get really involved here. Be the man that stops Venancio, man. He is a beast.
5-yard pickup, 3rd and 5. And we've been talking about the defensive line for North. How about some kudos to the big boys up front on the offensive line for the Huskies? They've done a fantastic job because the defense for Poly is a tough customer to contend with. 3rd and 5. Mika Ailey, 1st down and more. Up the right side. He'll angle back to the inside. He'll go to the house. Touchdown, Huskies. 47 yards for Venancio Mika Ailey. 3rd trip to pay dirt on the evening, announcing his presence with authority.
I think we're seeing a superstar in the making right now.
You and I are about the same age, Jeff. You know who he reminds me of? Remember Marcus Dupree?
Of course I
just
do.
A big physical runner, and then all of a sudden he gets into the open field and he's got a little bit of speed too.
He's just a freshman. Breakaway speed like that. Oh, that young man's future is bright.
I'm talking running style, obviously not size.
Yeah, no.
Marcus Dupree was about 250 pounds, and Shai puts it through.
At about 6'2".
Style. I should have said style. Yeah. Let's get a look at this running stylings of Venancio Mika Ailey. And look at the big boy down the field, ready to make a block, and doesn't even need it. Turns down the screen and goes straight to the goal. High stepping at the end of the touchdown run. Mika Ailey now unofficially 14 carries, 162 yards, 3 trips to the end zone.
I like the Marcus Dupree, but I also think a little Eric Bieniemy. I think we mentioned that last time.
Right.
Or how about just Venancio Mika Ailey?
Yeah. 3 plays on the drive, 53 yards driven, 57 seconds consumed by the Huskies, and they're very much in control here. Short kick fielded by the up man at the 36-yard line. That's Nathan Griffiths over the 40. He's a track guy they bought out for football. Derek DeWitt went and found him, and it'll be good field position for Poly on the drive.
Let's see if Poly can muster up some offense here. Yeah, that's a heartbreaker if you were the Bears right now.
Huskies barking loud. Bud Burney in at quarterback for Poly. Sandefur to the near side. Here's the give to Henderson right up the middle, and 3 blue shirts collapse about him. Hoxie there getting up Ansel Turner from the bottom of the pile. Beauvais was in there along with Aaron McCullough. All 4 defensive linemen converging at the running back. 2-yard pickup for Henderson.
You know, we go every week a different animal. That would be a pack of wolves, right?
True. Huskies, yeah.
I'm sorry, wolf. My fault.
We were the Wolves yesterday. Here's Randy Wright with a reception, and Randy Wright dances up out of bounds at about the 48. It'll be 3rd and manageable, about 3rd and 5.
Okay, we've been doing a lot of games. We got Wolves and Huskies. And
so Wright was a kid who had a great year last year for Poly, and then Derek DeWitt, as the tackle made by Alonzo Elliott, Derek DeWitt saying that, good kid needed to square some stuff away on the academic side, which he has done, and he gives another weapon to the Bears. Play action, Burney trying to hit Carmen, incomplete. Bearing down on the coverage for John W. North was Ty Vickers. Incomplete. Fourth down. And that's one thing, and you and I have discussed this about Derek DeWitt, is he's not a football coach. He's a guy who's a steward of a program.
I agree.
So he wants things done a certain way, and I think that's a positive thing.
Well, he's really changed the culture at Poly. I mean, you bring in great assistant coaches. You bring in Coach Rice, Coach Powell, both big names, and they are student athletes. They are good citizens on campus. They say yes, sir, yes, ma'am, to everything. So I agree with you. Coach DeWitt is doing an outstanding job, and we're seeing him reap the benefits the last 2 years here in his third year now.
Jaden Adams deep for North. Lauren Garthwaite to punt. She gets this one away. It'll drift off out of bounds. Let's see where they mark it. Looks like it'll go out of bounds the 34-yard line. So a 19-yard kick, no return, and North will tee it up. And I think it's interesting to do that, Jeff, in the sense that sometimes, listen, whether it's fair or not, if you're a coach, you're judged on wins and losses. And obviously in the first 2 years that Coach DeWitt was there, probably only won 5 games, but he had a vision. And he had a vision of how he wanted the program to be run, and it's starting to take shape, and I was happy to see the success he had this year.
Yeah, me too, very much so. You're molding young men so they're successful later in life.
From the 34, it's a 1st and 10.
7 in the box again. They're going to go jet and G over here. Okay.
Satcher flinging it in and out of the hands of Hawkins. On the coverage was Carpintero for Poly, 2nd and 10. Well, Nick Satcher's only completed 2 passes tonight, but I bet he's got a big smile on his face because his team's got a 33-0 lead and are probably going to the playoffs.
A sizable lead, and like you said, probably going to the playoffs and probably going to get a pretty good game.
9:38 to play third quarter. Huskies up big. 2nd and 10 from the North 34. Satcher throws it. Adams at the number at about midfield, leaping up for that one. Carpintero on the coverage, combining with Dalen Branham, 3rd down.
So going for the home run here in the third quarter, giving Satcher, trying to get him a little confidence here.
Good ball, just nice and easy. Step and throw.
And they're really going to need Satcher's arm when they get in the playoffs because they're going to have to. We know they have a great running game, but they're going to have to continue this passing game to be successful in the playoffs.
3rd and 10 from the 34. Satcher gets out of some pressure. Running up the sideline is shoved out of bounds. So it'll be 4th down coming up. Got up to maybe the 40-yard line. Another look at it here. Looking down the field, and he's flushed out. Harden was the one who chased him out. Got some help at the end from Gilbo, and North will go on 4th down. Unless Rayford will punt it again. And Rayford with the kick. Defense turns back the Huskies. North will down the ball at the 18-yard line, and that's where Poly will tee it up. So 9:14 to play here in the third quarter. Poly back out there, and Huskies up big. Got the ball on the first drive and put it into the end zone. Venancio Micaele, a 47-yard run at 10:58 of the third quarter to make it a 33-0 game, his 3rd of the evening. See if Poly can get something going here. Looks like LaMontagne back in at quarterback. Option give. That's running left is Carmen over the 20 to the 21-yard line.
And a flag on the play here.
Donnie Jury, white hat, will tell us what's happening. Not unlike Raj, Rerun, and Dwayne in their day. It looks like it'll be a false start call on Poly. Just the 4th penalty on the Huskies. In fact, won't be the 4th because it'll be declined.
And Don Algieri's son was the San Bernardino Player of the Year in both basketball and football. He was an outstanding quarterback at Pacific High School and then all-CIF performer in basketball as well.
2nd and 8 from the 20. LaMontagne looking down the field. One-on-one, Sandifer knocked away from him on the coverage for John W. North. Moses McCullough, 3rd down. Jerry Sandifer, the leading receiver for Poly, the intended receiver on that play. He's been shut out today.
And we've heard such great things about Sandifer this year from Coach DeWitt. One of those guys he's really depended on and his go-to guy.
Last year in this game, a game won by North 30-21, Sandifer had 3 receptions against the Huskies. 3rd and 8 from the 20. Here we go. LaMontagne launches it down the field, looking for Sandifer. Again, McCullough running with him, one-on-one, incomplete, 4th down. Also in on the coverage, Ty Vickers.
I like LaMontagne's arm, though. He's got a good arm.
He does. Was 7 for 7 on the year coming into the ball game, and tonight he's 0 for 5 with an interception, but a lot of that has to do with the complexion of this ball game.
And he's had a couple really good passes right on the numbers, but man, I'll tell you, he's got a lot of poise in that backfield, shows a lot of confidence, and he's got a really strong arm.
Garthwaite to kick, and Jaden Adams, who got this party started with a 35-yard run, first play from scrimmage for North. High snap, Garthwaite gets the kick away. And here's Calhoun. Calhoun dancing inside, still on his feet, and finally will get bought down. Alande Telemaque makes the tackle at the 41-yard line of Poly. $33-0 in the 44th staging of the John W. North and Riverside Poly rivalry. Poly, the oldest high school in the city. North opened in 1965.
I think every single person in this stadium, including all the coaches and players and band, are surprised at this score right now.
It's interesting. They had a number of players and coaches been on both sides of this rivalry. We were talking with Dennis Brown before the game. He obviously was the head coach at Poly in 2013 and 2014, but he's a longtime teacher and administrator at John W. North. I think he's at 22 or 23 years, so he's seen both sides of it. We were talking with O.P. Vaipulu, who is the defensive line coach for North. He was an assistant under Coach Brown at Poly, and then in 2015 took the helm of the Bears, and this is going to be a penalty marked off against North, unsportsmanlike conduct. They're going to mark it off against Poly, they say. Looked like the line judge was going in the direction of...
He was just doing a little jog, a nice jog.
So it's from the 42-yard line of Poly for North with 8:30 to play. And let's not forget the man to our right. One of the defensive coaches for Poly now is John Rice, who was the head coach at John W. North for 3 seasons between 2013 and 2015. 1st and 10 from the 42. Satcher is complete to Adams. Adams dancing over the 30 to the 25. Jukes back inside. Adams inside the 10-yard line. So Adams with 2 plays over 30 yards. That one goes for 34 down to the Poly 9.
They got a lot of offensive weapons, that's for sure.
And obviously, if North gets into a playoff situation in Division 8, they're going to need to be multidimensional. And so they want to get Nick Satcher going here in the second half. As look at Warren Harden race down the field to make that play.
He actually picked him up and bear hugged him like that, threw him down. Picked him up.
The big bear hug. That was a big move in the WWF back in 1986.
Yes.
I think Hillbilly Jim was his finishing move, the bear hug.
That was the bear hug.
In the middle of the ring. So they mark it to the 9, 1st and goal for North. Satcher gives the ball on the end around. Touchdown North. Corian Rayford finds the corner of the end zone. Rayford, the sophomore, comes out in Wildcat formations, got an opportunity to take the handoff there from Satcher, touchdown North. So 2 plays for the Huskies, 42 yards, culminating in the 9-yard run by Corey and Rayford at 7:32 of the third quarter. And the route is on 39-0. The Huskies on top of the Bears. Shive trying to add the PAT. And that's good. And it's 40-0.
Very shocking, to say the least. Young man had a nice PAT, though.
Here's Adams dancing. Cuts back inside past Rubin there, and Harden runs him down. At the 9-yard line is where they placed it. And here's the end-around play to Rayford. Just taking it, going straight to the corner. Michaela even blocking down the field on that play for the touchdown. And it's 40-0 in favor of John W. North. We have an update from Ram High.
Not yet. They are still in halftime. They had a marathon halftime as well, but I have some other scores here. Patriot 34, La Sierra 6. Like I said, Ramona 29-27 at half. But there's a big one just down the street here, which is Kaiser. Here's the big one. Oh, let me find it here again.
Penalty assessed against Poly. Obviously, North kicking off from the 45.
Kaiser 28, Grand Terrace 7. That's for league championship.
That's for the league championship. Touchback, and Poly will tee it up from the 20-yard line. I have a feeling, I told you, I had an inkling we're going to see Grand Terrace.
Yes.
Potentially in a first-round playoff matchup against Notre Dame. That's my prediction.
That's a good game
Division
right there.
7.
If you are a soothsayer, which I think you are at sometimes, you've been pretty good at prognosticating these games. Remember, Sunday, 9 a.m., the at-large bursts will be announced, and then they're going to go backwards from Division 13, you said, all the way up to the Open Division.
Division 1. Well, the second-place team from the Inland Valley League should get a berth somewhere. The team that loses this game then they're on the bubble.
Yeah.
Kind of in no man's land. 1st and 10 from the 20. Here's the throw down the field to Sandifer, and Sandifer reels it in. Penalty on the play. There goes Sandifer, tackled inside the 25. On the coverage for North was Mike Hollis.
Let's go Huskies!
So big completion. 57 yards on that completion, but let's see what the flag's all about. Donnie Jury, he's pointing back, saying the play's coming back. Pass interference on the defense, an illegal man downfield, so they'll offset, and man, nothing going right for the Bears.
No.
Bernie winds up and gets the ball down the field, and that's the interference right there. You saw the tug of the jersey as Hollis makes the tackle, but it's a old-fashioned backyard do-over.
Wow, that's tough. What a great play by Poly. Good pass by Bernie to Sandifer. Sandifer, like I said, not having a great night tonight. Last year had 3 receptions. That would have been a big one right there.
So a big lead for the Huskies here. They have just been all over Poly. Bears simply couldn't match their intensity, particularly early, Jeff.
No.
And before they knew it, they're down 26-0.
Yeah, and it just snowballed and snowballed. But I'll tell you what, it was the North defense that was just so stifling.
So from the 20, 1st and 10, Bernie with the give to Carmen. And Carmen is cut down after about a 6-yard gain. Making the play for the Huskies, Mafileo Tupo'u.
That's impressive. I like your skills, my friend.
4-yard pickup for Carmen, 2nd and 6. Carmen now 24 yards on 6 carries. Sandifer split out to the near side, near slot Carpinterio. LaMontagne up top of your screen, and then right in a tight slot to the far side, and flags come in on the play.
Randy's a yard off the ball. Okay, a yard. Okay.
So ball moves up to the 29, 5 yards on North was the penalty, 2nd and 1. 2nd and 1, Henderson, first down, Poly. Still stays up on his feet, and he's into the open field. Henderson to the end zone. Hollis trying to close. Henderson will win that race, 71 yards to the touchdown.
And just like that, bam, great move by the Bears.
And now the officials talking it over. And somebody down below, there was a little bit of jawing afterwards. Nice job by the North coaching staff to kind of intervene. And so the touchdown is good. There will be a unsportsmanlike penalty signaled against Poly. So a 71-yard run by Henderson. So now he is over 100 yards for 9 of his 10 games on the year. Congratulations to Jermaine Henderson. PAT attempt by Lauren Garthwaite. So Poly on the board here in the third quarter. LaMontagne will hold. Garthwaite with the PAT, and it's good, 40-7. So Poly on the board. Get another look at that run. Well, that's Carmen. And then here's the Henderson run. They thought he was down, but puts his hand down and stays up, runs into his own man, and then once he's by that first wave, the only man that can catch him is Hollis, and Henderson a little bit too fast for Michael Hollis. Touchdown, Poly.
Yeah, great run. Like you said, holds himself up with his right hand, and he was off to the races. Man alive. Like I said, 9 of 10 games over 100 yards.
Why is the clock running? Well, it's 33-point game. Talk to your guy down there. Have your head coach talk to him. Yeah. Thank you. He just keeps doing this. No, I understood. Yeah, I got you. Thank you. Got to tell the ref. Yeah, John.
So a 15-yard mark off, and Poly will kick. So that was marked off against North, not Poly. It was signaled against North.
So, Coach, are they going to stop the clock or are they going to let him run it? John, I said run it. No, he's the one up there telling him to stop it. No, I said after. The lead is less. The lead is under 35.
Here's a return by Hawkins. Hawkins trying to get to the outside, and he'll get tripped up at the 25. Now, the clock is running. There's a little bit of controversy up here in the press box because that's a 35-point lead. Now, the Huskies were up by 40, but we're still in the third quarter. Traditionally, that won't start till the fourth quarter unless both teams agree, and there was not an agreement. There was no détente.
No, there was no détente. In fact, you had asked the referee when he was up here in the box
I did.
prior to the game.
Here's Hawkins still in with a big lead, trying to get to the outside. Isaac Rubin and Carpinteiro trip him up, at the 25. From the 25, 1st and 10. Here's the give. Maybe a yard on that one. Jalen Keaton with a play. Running the football. was Brandon Ha. New quarterback also in. Christian Martinez has replaced Nick Satcher for North. So under 3 minutes to play third quarter, big lead for the Huskies. They jumped out in front early. First play from scrimmage took it to the house, and we're leading 26-0 at the half in this big rivalry game.
The Husky defense was phenomenal in the first half. Really stopped the Bears.
Here's Ha again. Try the right side, and Keaton also there. Every time Keaton makes a tackle, I want to say, sha-la-la-la. If we're of a certain age, you remember Family Ties, the Keatons. Stephen and Elise and their 3 beautiful children, Alex, Mallory, and Jennifer.
Yeah, but didn't they bring in a kid like later on?
Brian Bunsall as Andy.
That's
Very
right,
good.
that's
Very
right.
good. And, of course, the man with the little kids makes the call.
Yeah.
Clock moving, 3rd and 7 for North from the North 28. They lead big here in Week 10. Inland Valley matchup for second place. Hot in the backfield. Carmen submarines him down at the 25. It'll be 4th down.
Now was that Leonardo DiCaprio as well on that show? Or was that
I thought he was on Growing Pains.
Growing Pains, you're right.
But Tom Hanks had a very memorable 2-part guest star on Family Ties as Meredith Baxter Birney's alcoholic brother, Uncle Ned.
Uncle Ned.
40-7 North leads here. We're winding down on the third quarter, and looks like Rayford in, and they'll do the same thing they've done. He's been in as a Wildcat and punted out of it a couple of times tonight. This will, I believe, be number 3.
Yeah, we're going to go Growing Pains. I have a great story about Kirk Cameron. I hung out with him for an entire day at Disneyland.
Was that arranged, or did you meet him, or
there was.
You go up to him and say, "Hey, I'm the Big Jeezy," and he hung out with you?
I was going to BYU. I was playing basketball out there, and the Children's Miracle Network was used to have a big telethon at Disneyland every year.
Oh, okay.
So Kirk Cameron, and there was a musical group called the Jets. Do you remember the Jets?
I remember the Jets.
Okay,
yeah.
the Jets. I was friends with some of the Jets, and I was able to go to this Children's Miracle Network. And Kirk Cameron and I, we had a bond. And he said, "Hey, you play basketball?" And we were talking hoops. He said, "Let's go pal around Disneyland together." And this was Tiger Beat days. He was really big. So people were asking, "Who's the guy with Kirk Cameron?"
Yeah, they thought you were famous.
Yeah, because I had beautiful flowing blonde locks. But a great time at Disneyland. Rode Big Thunder.
So now Macias, who's the normal punter, is back there for North in a punt formation after the timeout.
See, they want to snap it right there. They want to put the ball. You can't.
And now the clock stopped again. So 40-7, 26-0 at the half. The scores in this half: a 47-yard run for Venancio Micaele at 10:48 of the third quarter. Then at 7:32, Rayford with a 9-yard run. Then at 6:14 for Poly, the first score of the game for the Bears. Jermaine Henderson took 71 yards.
Yeah, I'll tell you, North is ready for these playoffs.
You know, and you hate to see it because we were both. I mean, it's obviously, we don't have a rooting interest, but Derek DeWitt, such a good dude,
great guy,
and a good coach. And Poly looked like they were finally turning the corner this year. But hey, North came to play today, and they did what they needed to do. So Macias is on for North. Will punt the football. Randy Wright back for the return. Ball will land inside the 40. It'll roll and be down at the inside of the 20-yard line.
Flag on the play here.
So a good kick. Got some help with a friendly bounce. And there'll be a flag is on North, and they're going to decline it. It'll be first down. So a little bit of controversy in the booth because, as you can see, the clock is running. The Poly coaches did not want the clock to run. There was confusion, and the officials, I guess, overruled them.
They did.
It's unfortunate. Players and coaches work so hard.
They do. I agree.
And I don't want to get on a rant here, but, everybody should be on the same page, and the officials and the CIF should make sure that things are executed and communicated properly. So Bernie still in there at quarterback as the third quarter comes to an end, and it's 40-7 in favor of John W. North, and the Huskies have really been dominant. Mika Ele with 162 yards on the ground, 117 yards on the ground for Henderson of Poly. But the first half is kind of really what happened early. North got on top, and Poly just couldn't kind of struggle back into this one. I want to remind you, Saturday, November 10th, noon to 12 p.m. at the Riverside Municipal Auditorium at 3485 Michigan Avenue, the new location for the Riverside Mariachi Festival. There'll be all kinds of music and food and family fun in the city of Riverside, presented to you by the city of Riverside and Live Nation. Go check it out. Jeff Guerin will be there.
I'll be there. In fact, I'm really working hard. My mom is a seamstress, and so I'm going to ask her to make me some black pants with the gold down the sides. I want them extra tight because I'm telling you, man, I'm ready to do some dancing to some mariachi music. Have you ever worn mariachi pants?
I have not.
I
need to get some?
Hey, my mom's going to make me some. I'm going to feel like part of the Three Amigos.
Here's Randy Wright with the carry, trying to find the edge. He'll get up to the 25-yard line. 6-yard run for young Randy Wright. Emerged last year for Poly as a wide receiver. Clock moving. Wright will go to the 10th there. Maybe he got a bump on the head at the end of that run. Here's the option, the pitch. Henderson gets outside at the 30 and then tiptoes out of bounds at the 33. Sticks will move up. 8 more yards for Henderson. 125 yards for Jermaine on 14 carries and the touchdown. So LaMontagne split out to the near side for Poly. Full house backfield. Sandifer split out to the far side. Henderson right. Up to the 38-yard line. 4 more yards, 2nd and 6.
We have another score here. Actually, Patriots still up 34-6 according to the scores in the third quarter. And Kaiser over Grand Terrace 28-7 in the fourth quarter.
That's a revenge game, right? Didn't Grand Terrace knock them off last year and win that title?
Knocked them off. Christian Hunter, the state's leading rusher and touchdowns, playing for Kaiser.
2nd and 4 from the 40, Carmen. Carmen's got some space between the tackles. He'll lower the boom and get over the 45 on the north side of the field to about the 43-yard line. Absorbing the hit was Joseph Rizzo for North.
Yeah, great run right here. That's a man right there.
So Carmen lowers the boom. 15 more yards for him on the run. He's got 39 yards on 7 carries. 1st and 10 for Poly from the North 45. Henderson, right into the teeth of the defense, emerges from the pack and is down at the 33. Instead, down at the 37, so give him 8. He's running right behind the right side of the offensive line for Poly. Carmen running left, finds some room, 1st down, inside the 30 to the 28. Sticks move up. Your friend Yancey Dotson, the best crew in the city, I think, in terms of the chain gang.
And the largest crew. You got Coach Showalter, who was the head coach, basketball coach at Rancho Verde, came over to North this year, or to Poly. And the great Kelvin Butler, who was the starting center at UCLA, who played here at John W. North High School.
Bernie keeps it on the option. He's got some room. Down at the 15-yard line, Hollis on the tackle for North. Hollis is an interesting case in the sense that He played for Arlington earlier this year, transferred, family moved, and the CIF approved it without much resistance.
Yeah, if you change residence and you can't get to the other high school, then you can't keep it away from the young man, and probably a good call by the CIF. Obviously, Arlington said it was okay, and Poly agreed as well.
Carmen with the carry inside the 10, about 8 more yards for him. So he's padding the stat sheet. 9 carries for Carmen now, 55 yards. Clock continues to move. 40-7 Huskies on top of the Bears. So a little bit anticlimactic, the big city rivalry matchup, and the Bears kind of trying to work their way uphill here in the second half after falling behind early. They mark it to the 9. First down will be at the inside the 7. Sandifer split out to the far side, far slot Carpintero. Split to the near side is LaMontagne, near slot Randy Wright. Carmen swerves, veers, he's in. Touchdown. Poly with the touchdown.
A great drive here, great series by the Bears.
So it's 6:54 to play in the fourth quarter. Camden Carmen takes it in from 9 yards out. 75-yard drive for Poly.
Camden Carmen, the senior.
Jacob Sobreto on to try the PAT and pumps it through to make it 40-14. Here's the look at the drive. Henderson gets it going. Carmen and Henderson, kind of a steady 1-2 punch for Poly. Well, Division IX's kind of nutty. I would hope that somehow Poly could maybe get in as a third place or a wild card team. I think they might be able to give another team a bit of a run. Haven't seen them before. They can run the football, they can throw the football, and they got some active players on defense. I'm rooting for Derek DeWitt and his team to get an 11th game if possible.
I sure hope so. We do have an updated score, big one. Norte Vista now takes the lead, 35-29, the start of the fourth quarter.
So our pals John Ramey and Tim Hatch calling that one on the HD channel. I'm kidding. They're all HD. Here our score 40-14. North pretty much in command. Looks like they will earn second place in the Inland Valley League. Little squib kick. Oh, nice play. Made on the squib kick by Isaac Aguilar for John W. North. And Huskies will have very good field position as they'll take the ball.
And then at the start of the second half, a very big upset in the making, if you want to call it an upset. Heritage 10-7 over the Rancho Verde.
Well, it would be an upset because as good as Heritage is, Rancho Verde undefeated. Pete Duffy back in his first year, taking the program back from Jeff Steinberg, who decided to take the Beaumont job.
So the Green Ranch could go down.
That's right, Rancho Verde, yeah. 40-14 here, Huskies and North, 44th meeting between the two teams. Backup quarterback in for North, his second series, Christian Martinez, senior. The give and the tackle. Tackled the runner on the play. Look at Dennis Brown there, sporting the stash. Former head coach at Poly, now the head coach at JW North, where he'd been for many years.
And the Brown family singers, all he and his brothers, part of the staff at North High School.
Good football family. Of course, uncle of the Browns, Dick Corey, longtime professional coach, is give up the middle, carrying the ball for North. I hate when they do this. I ask every coach before the game, hey, you have any JV guys you're calling up? And they say, a couple. Well, obviously now they're playing. None of them are on the roster. Dennis Brown did say they called up, he said 6 freshmen, right, from the freshman team.
10.
Oh, 10, okay.
10.
Their freshman team did well this year, correct?
10-0.
Get a look at Derek DeWitt, third year here. Very interesting guy if you talk to him. A lot of stories. He's seen a lot.
Yeah, I love him. Great guy. He's a guy I would like to go have a sandwich with. Just pick his brain.
Go take him to the substation over by UCR.
I'll have to do that. Or I'll give him my sandwich that you owe me from Mike.
Just pass it along. You'll re-gift it. 3rd and 12. Here's the run up the middle. Switching hands, get into the outside. Into Poly territory. Clock continues to move. First down North. How about that?
Good play there. Probably one of the young freshmen. We could just make up names for him. We could give him great television stars.
I mean, you met Eric. We were talking about Eric Dickerson earlier today. He's wearing number 29, just like Mr. Dickerson.
Big shoulder pads. So Eric Dickerson with the care. Came out of his Hall of Fame career. Played at North High School.
Line is the 47 for North. 1st and 10. Low snap. Martinez shuffles it off. And Keaton still in there. Makes a play. Jalen Keaton, senior defensive lineman for Poly. Warren Harden in there on the play as well. Isaiah Cruz has his nose around the football. Loss back into North territory as we're under 2 minutes to play here in this one. What's the next step here if you're Derek DeWitt for Poly?
Well, you hope you get a playoff spot, but I'll tell you what, you look at his core, he's got a lot of seniors, but the improvements in 3 years that he's made on and off the field, guys are going to want to play for him. Heck, if I was a high school kid, I would play for him in a heartbeat. He's one of those guys, his coaching is infectious. He's caring about his team. I think Poly's heading in the right direction.
Fumble on the play recovered by North. Clock will continue to move. And that is the thing about Derek DeWitt is, he wants to win games. And look at the play, mishandled on the handoff. He obviously wants to win games. All coaches want to win games. But Derek DeWitt is very focused on doing things the right way. Everybody says that, but a lot of people don't do the things that you need to do. Derek DeWitt has done the things that needed to be done, and some people weren't too happy with him, but he's continued to do things. That's the way he knows how to do them, and things have started to turn for Poly, and I do think there are brighter days ahead for the Bears.
I agree 100%.
Another run up the middle for North, brought down at the 40-yard line as we're under 45 seconds to play in this one.
And I think a lot of coaches, good coaches like Coach DeWitt, they're not just coaching and teaching football. They're teaching young men, young ladies with Garthwaite to become good teammates for when you go out in the real world, you go to college, you go to your job. It teaches you to become successful. You face adversity. Tonight's adversity. It's how you handle that adversity in your real life. That is where coaching is grassrooted, and I think that is what Coach DeWitt is teaching his young men.
The home crowd will go home happy tonight as the Huskies with the win, 40-14. The clock hits 0. And North will be the second-place team in the Inland Valley League and more than likely gain a spot in the Division VIII playoffs. An impressive win for the Huskies behind their running game and both the big boys up front on the offensive line and the defensive line. They set the tone early, Jeff, and North was able to carry that through and finish this one with a 40-14 win.
Oh, they did. I mean, it was amazing. The intensity that they showed in that first half, it carried over from the defense to the offense. You have a phenomenal, great freshman runner. We're going to say his name for the next 3 years. North and Poly are both trending up, but tonight North trended just a little bit more.
We'll have J.R. Ibarra with Dennis Brown when we get a moment here, but now we have playoff scenarios to examine and to see what is going to happen. How will this transpire? You mentioned Sunday on the CIF website, they will have the pairings. They'll start at Division 13 and move all the way up to Division 1. And looking at Division 8, Division 8 is a tough one for the Inland Empire, but the one thing for North is now that they're the second-place team, they have a fighting chance. They'll get a decent matchup in the middle of that bracket. Now, if they get in as a third-place team, you're looking down the barrel at sorry, we were getting word from down on the field. You're staring at Kaiser now who is a pretty good team this year.
Great team. Christian Hunter, like I said, the leading rusher in the state of California in yards and touchdowns. And Billy Cardosi, man, other than their slip-up at Aquinas where they lost 9-0, they've gone on a tear.
And they played a couple of teams that we covered this year, and they won big in both those games. The North Huskies win big tonight here on their home field. It was a great atmosphere, though, on both sides, both for Poly and for North. Obviously, the 44th year or 44th game of this rivalry. It was great. You know, at halftime, both bands played, and everybody was into it on both sides. The energy, though, on the field, mostly on the Husky side.
Yeah, it was. And one of these events that Riverside's going to talk about forever, these young men are going to say, hey, I remember back in 2018 when North came out of nowhere and just took care of business.
We have Dennis Brown down on the field with J.R. Rivera. Let's toss it downstairs.
Coach, on paper, it looks like they had a strong defense coming in, but your defense was just stellar tonight.
Yeah, outstanding job. The coaches did a great job all week. Players were just tuned in all week. We had a great week of practice. They prepared well, and it showed tonight, so I was proud of them.
And once again, that running game in the second half just continued to roll on.
It did. Our kids just, they were excited for the game. The line did a great job. Obviously, when you run the ball well, your offensive line's doing a great job, and so, kudos to the offensive line, but the backs they're special.
I know you're going to enjoy the win for just a short amount of time, but as you think about a possible first round in CIF, what are you thinking now?
Boy, I'm not, to be honest. All my focus was this game, and I know we say that all the time, but it's really true with our kids. We were, we got our butts whipped last week, so we wanted to come back out and prove that we weren't as bad as they made us look, and that we're, taking the right steps, still going forward, and look forward to the next week opponent.
And your kids have to feel a lot of confidence after tonight.
They do. They're playing with a lot of confidence. Really, even after last week's game, they didn't get down. They came ready to work this week, and it showed. So I think they have a lot of confidence.
All right, congrats on a great win.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Coach Brown. All right, guys, we'll send that back up to you.
Great point by Dennis Brown. Thank you, JR. We'll wrap through some of the highlights here. Poly took a really bad loss last week against Orange Vista, and the way I looked at it is, North just found out what the rest of the area knew, in that Orange Vista is a pretty good football team. And it was interesting. Maybe that loss kind of had them a little bit on edge, a little bit more than Poly, who might have been a little bit more relaxed because they shut out the last two teams they played.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, sometimes it's a good kick in the pants will really turn your entire season around. Maybe a little overconfidence going into that new program, but I'll tell you what, North bounced back really well. Like I said,
305 yards on the ground for the Huskies, 162 of them, and 3 touchdowns by Venancio Micaeli. He is standing by with J.R. Rivera down on the field.
All right, guys, we have the leading ground gainer for tonight. Venancio, a really good game for you guys.
Yeah, I just want to thank the O-line for blocking for me. And the defense did their stuff today, and that's it.
What's been the key for you personally? I mean, you really have emerged as really a strong runner in this league and in the city here.
Yeah, I just thank the blocking for the line. That's it.
All right, I know Venancio's a little shy. Remember, he's only a freshman, but he's got to get used to these type of interviews, because I know down the road, young man, you're going to be quite a guy to contend with.
All right, thank you.
As you're looking towards the playoff real quickly, what are you guys now thinking? You're probably looking at a first-round game here.
Yeah, our O-line just needs to step up just a little bit so we can get better yards, and so we can get
just kind of stepping it up for that first round.
Yeah.
All right, good job, young man.
Thank you.
All right. Venancio Micaeli having a great game on the ground tonight. So now it's heading off to Selection Sunday to see who they'll match up against in that first round of CIF. Guys, we'll send it back up to you to wrap it up.
137 yards on 16 carries and a touchdown for Jermaine Henderson on the Poly side. But the big man, you just heard from him, the young freshman, Venancio Micaeli, 14 carries, 162 yards, 3 touchdowns for him on the evening. And he was right about the offensive line. The offensive line and the defensive line for North really set the tone early. Poly came out, took the opening kickoff. They went 3 and out. And then from the first play from scrimmage, a 35-yard touchdown run by Jaden Adams. And that got the Huskies off and running.
And it did, and it was just continuous. The defense then fed off of that great offense, and it was just over. It was over that quick.
Huskies had 228 rushing yards in the first half and a 26-0 lead. All they had to do was manage it in the second half. They did just that to win this one by a score of 40-14. So the Huskies with the win in the 44th edition of this rivalry. They have 24 wins now to 20 for the Bears of Poly. They are 5-5 on the year and wrap it up 4-1 in Inland Valley League play. They finished second behind 5-0 Orange Vista. The Poly Bears at 3-2 will have to settle for third place. So the Huskies have probably found a place in the Division 8 playoffs. For the Poly Bears, it's a game of sit and wait, depending on who else may get an opportunity in those Division 9 playoffs. Can they get in as a third-place team? Can they potentially get in as an at-large team? You can find that all out on Sunday. For us, though, that's all we have here this evening. Thanks for joining us, the CIF on Riverside TV here at the Doghouse in the city of Riverside. For Jeff Gorham and J.R. Ibarra and our entire award-winning Riverside TV crew, my name's Ghazal Hassan. Hopefully we'll talk to you next week from a playoff game.
Yes.
So long, everybody.